Imagine it's 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. Your phone alarm has been buzzing for 12 minutes. You've hit snooze twice. Your shoulders are tense. Your mind is already heavy. And you haven't even opened your eyes yet. You roll over and check your screen. There are already 11 emails waiting. 3 of them are from your manager, Sarah. She sent the last one at 11:45 p.m. She doesn't stop working, and she expects you to do the same. You drag yourself out of bed. You shuffle to the bathroom. You splash water on your face and look in the mirror. The person staring back looks exhausted. You're 29, but you look 40. You put on the same uniform you wear every day, a navy blue polo, khaki pants, flat shoes, nothing that expresses who you are, just clothes that meet the dress code. You grab a protein bar from the pantry and eat it standing up. You never have time to sit down for breakfast. You never have time. You walk out to your car. It's a 2017 Toyota Corolla. It runs fine. It costs you $380 a month, and you still have 2.5 years left on the loan. You merge onto the highway. Same lane, same exit, same parking deck. You scan your badge at the turnstile. You take the elevator to the 4th floor. You sit down at your desk, the exact same desk you've sat at for the last 4 years. You boot up your computer. You open your inbox. And somewhere deep in your chest, you feel a quiet thud, a realization you've been pushing down for months. Is this really it? Is this what 4 years of college was for? Is this what the next 40 years of your life look like? Let's go back to the start. You're 22 years old. You just walked the stage at the University of Illinois, a degree in communications, a degree you picked because it seemed broad, because your parents said it was versatile, because your academic advisor told you it would open doors. Your cap and gown are hanging in the back of your closet. Your student loan total is $32,000. It feels like a massive weight, but you aren't scared. You have a job, a real career. You got hired at a logistics company called Meridian Freight Solutions in Chicago, a mid-sized corporate office, about 250 employees. They coordinate shipping routes for Midwestern manufacturing plants. A steady company, a respectable company. The kind of company your parents brag about to their friends at Sunday dinner. Your first day is a Wednesday, October 3rd. The Chicago wind is already biting. You're wearing a blazer you found on clearance at Target for $35. It's slightly too tight in the arms, but you don't care. You're thrilled. You walk into the lobby. Beige walls, fluorescent lights, a laminated visitor pass waiting for you at the front desk, your name on a badge. It feels like an achievement. HR walks you to your cubicle, gray fabric walls, the hum of the copy machine. To your left, a guy in his 50s is aggressively typing an email. To your right, a woman is sighing loudly at a PDF. You sit in your chair, the cushion is flat, you adjust the height, it slowly sinks back down. You open your welcome packet, a benefits brochure, a map of the fire exits, and a company-branded pen. You take a deep breath, you made it. You're an adult now. The first year was fine. You were learning. You were making $48,000 a year. After taxes, student loans, and rent for your tiny studio apartment, you had about $200 left over each month. But you were young. Time was on your side. Your manager was Sarah. Sarah was 42. She drank 4 cups of black coffee a day. She drove a leased Audi. She was always running behind, always checking her phone, always sighing about deadlines. Sarah taught you the ropes, how to log freight tickets, how to format the daily routing spreadsheets, how to write emails to vendors. Always start with, "I hope this email finds you well," she told you. It sets a professional tone. You nodded. You didn't know you would type that exact sentence over 1,000 times in the next 4 years. Your mornings became a blur of data entry. Your afternoons were endless meetings. Meetings about route optimizations. Meetings about meeting quotas. Meetings that could have been a 5-minute phone call, but instead lasted an hour in a glass-walled conference room. You learned the corporate vocabulary, bandwidth, synergy, touch base, circle back. You said these phrases. They meant nothing, but they made you sound like you belonged. Lunch was 20 minutes at your desk, a turkey sandwich, a bag of chips, scrolling through social media while you chewed. Your commute was 45 minutes on the train, standing room only, packed in with 100 other people staring blankly at their shoes. On Fridays, people wore jeans. They left at 4:55 p.m. instead of 5:15. You'd go to a local pub with coworkers. They complained about the coffee machine. They complained about the traffic. You complained too. It felt like camaraderie. But on Sunday afternoons, around 3 p.m., the dread would set in, a pit in your stomach, the Sunday Scaries. You check your work phone. You'd see a message from Sarah, prepping for tomorrow, and your heart would sink. Everyone acted like this was just a normal part of life, like you just had to accept it. Year 3 is when the shift happened. It didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, like a slow leak in a tire. You were staring at a spreadsheet of freight invoices, the same spreadsheet you'd updated for 3 years. And suddenly, the numbers blurred. You thought, this is it. This is my life. I moved numbers from one cell to another. You started noticing things, the way Sarah micromanaged your email tone, the way your coworker David did the absolute bare minimum just to not get fired. One Thursday evening, you were at the pub. David was telling a story about his weekend. He had told the exact same story last month. Everyone laughed at the exact same parts. And you realized something. Nobody here was happy. They were just comfortable. There is a massive difference. That night, you couldn't sleep. You opened your laptop in bed. You started searching. How to make money outside of work. Alternative income streams. How to retire early. You read articles until 2 a.m. And suddenly, a switch flipped. You didn't need to be a millionaire. You didn't need to buy a Lamborghini. You didn't need to launch a tech startup. You just needed to be free. Free from Sarah's emails at 6 a.m., free from the train schedule, free from the cubicle, free from trading 5 days of your week for 2 days of recovery. You started small, really small. You moved your emergency fund from a traditional checking account earning 0.01% to a high-yield savings account earning 4.5%. You had $5,000 saved. You were making pennies before. Now you were making $225 a year just for letting it sit there. You started tracking every single dollar. A simple notes app on your phone, rent, utilities, food, subscriptions. At the end of the first month, you were shocked. You were spending $120 a month on iced coffees. You were paying $90 for a gym membership you used twice. You were spending $150 on takeout because you were too tired to cook after work. You bought a $20 French press. You canceled the gym and started running outside. You started meal prepping on Sundays. You cut your expenses by $400 a month. For the first time in years, you felt something you forgot existed: control. Year 4 was when everything changed. You started a side hustle, nothing glamorous. You started building simple websites for local businesses. You noticed that the bakery down the street from your apartment had a terrible, broken website. You offered to rebuild it for $500. They said yes. It took you one weekend. You did it again. A local plumber, a dog grooming shop. You charged $600, then $800. You weren't getting rich, but you were making an extra $1,000 a month. More importantly, you were building a skill that belonged entirely to you. Nobody could fire you from it. But you still had the day job, the job that was slowly draining your soul. You started quiet quitting before it was even a buzzword. You stopped volunteering for extra tasks. You stopped staying late. You did exactly what was in your job description, and not a single minute more. Sarah noticed. She pulled you aside. You seem a little checked out lately, she said. I'm fine, you lied. Just tired. She nodded and walked away. She didn't ask if she could help. She didn't actually care about your well-being. She just wanted to make sure your output didn't drop. Year 5 was the year you made the decision. You were sitting in a quarterly review meeting. Sarah was clicking through a PowerPoint about freight logistics, graphs going up, pie charts, people nodding along to nothing. You looked around the room, 12 people, 12 tired faces. They all had slightly nicer cars than you, slightly bigger houses, but they all had the same dead look in their eyes. They were all counting down to 65. They were going to sit in these exact chairs, answering these exact emails until they were too old to enjoy retirement. In that moment, you decided you weren't going to be them. You opened a blank spreadsheet on your laptop, hiding it behind the meeting notes. You did the math. You currently had $14,000 saved. Your target to quit your job and go full-time freelance was $40,000. a 6-month runway. With your day job salary, plus your website income, plus your new frugal lifestyle, you were saving $1,800 a month. $40,000 minus $14,000 is $26,000. Divided by $1,800 a month. You would hit your goal in 14 months. You could do 14 months. You had already survived 4 years. You opened a brokerage account, you bought your first S&P 500 index fund, you set up automatic transfers. You didn't care what the stock market did today or tomorrow. You were playing a 10-year game. The next 14 months were a blur. You worked. You built websites at night. You saved. You watched the number in your brokerage account creep up. $20,000, $28,000, $35,000. You hit $42,000 on a Friday afternoon. You didn't celebrate. You didn't tell anyone. On Monday morning, you walked into Sarah's office. You closed the glass door behind you. "I'm giving my 2 weeks notice," you said. Sarah looked up from her monitor, confused. "Do you have another offer?" "No," you said. "I'm going to work for myself." She was stunned. She tried to offer you a raise. She told you it was a risky move in this economy. You politely declined. You walked back to your desk. You packed your things into a cardboard box, a succulent, a coffee mug, a tangled phone charger. You said goodbye to a few coworkers. Some looked at you like you were crazy. Some looked at you with quiet jealousy. You walked out of the building. You didn't take the elevator. You took the stairs, 4 flights. You wanted to feel every single step. You walked out into the Monday morning sun. The street was empty. Everyone else was inside, sitting in their cubicles. You got on the train. There were plenty of seats. You never went back. That was 7 months ago. 7 months of waking up when your body tells you to. 7 months of drinking coffee slowly on your balcony. You still work. You work hard, but you work on things that matter to you. You build websites for clients you actually like. You created a digital course teaching small business owners how to set up their own online stores. It sells while you sleep. It's not millions of dollars, but it's consistent. It's yours. Your net worth is now over $55,000. Your investments grow every month, quietly compounding in the background. You still live in the same studio apartment. You still drive the same Corolla, but you don't buy things to impress people anymore. You've learned that buying things just keeps you trapped. Freedom is the only luxury worth buying. Sometimes you look up your old coworkers on LinkedIn. Sarah just got promoted to director. David is still there, posting corporate motivational quotes. They are exactly where you were a year ago. You don't feel pity for them. You just feel grateful. You realize how close you came to staying there forever. Here is what you learned. The 9-to-5 isn't a ladder. It's a treadmill. A treadmill designed to keep you walking at a pace that exhausts you just enough so you don't have the energy to look for an exit. They tell you to work harder. They tell you to put in your time. They tell you the reward comes at the end when you're 65. But that's a lie. The exit is right now. It's in the margins. It's in the $10 you saved by making coffee at home. It's in the hour you spent learning a new skill instead of watching TV. It's in the spreadsheet you built when nobody was looking. You didn't escape the rat race by running faster. You escaped by stepping off the track. You still have fear. You worry about a client leaving. You worry about the economy. But then you look at your bank account, your skills, and your freedom, and you realize you are no longer dependent on someone else for your survival. You are not your job title. You are not your salary. You are the sum of the choices you make in the dark when nobody is watching. Corporate life is not a requirement. It is an option, and you can choose to leave. Not with a bang, not with a dramatic speech, but quietly, slowly, $1 at a time, one skill at a time. And one morning, you'll wake up, pour a cup of coffee, and realize you are completely, totally free, and nobody will even know it happened.